Welcome to the Utility Insider Bonus Podcast, the podcast for utility professionals dedicated to navigating the ever-changing energy landscape for their organizations and customers. I'm Brian Olsen, Questline Digital's technical engineer. Over the next few minutes, we'll be diving into some current trends and issues in the utility space. This one specifically power reliability, what it is, why it matters, and how utilities and customers can work together to keep operations humming, machines spinning, and coffee makers doing the Lord's work. But first, I want to start with a story, a true one, mostly. A few years ago, a colleague visited a large distribution center. You know, the kind where conveyor belts run like freeways and forklifts zip around like bees. Everything was automated, synchronized, and beautifully choreographed. Until one Tuesday morning, when the entire system froze. The plant manager called the utility in a panic. He said, "I think the conveyor belt is acting weird." We asked him, "Why is that?" He said, "Because it stopped moving right after we started upgrading some software on another line." It turns out a voltage sag had tripped a sensitive control panel. The backup UPS had a dead battery, and the plant's emergency plan was to turn it on and off again and a phone number. Needless to say, the outage lasted 14 minutes, but the recovery took 4 hours. The lost productivity? About the cost of a new pickup truck. But the lesson, power reliability isn't just about outages. It's about everything that happens because of them. For key account managers, reliability is the heartbeat of customer relationships. For customers, it's the difference between smooth operations and a lot of overtime for maintenance. Here's the reality. Commercial and industrial customers lose thousands, sometimes millions, for even short interruptions. Modern equipment is more sensitive than ever. Just a tiny voltage dip can stop a process that takes hours to restart. Add to that extreme weather, electrification, and aging infrastructure. All these things are putting new stress on the grid. And customers expect transparency, speed, and partnership, not just restoration. Reliability is no longer a utility metric. It's a business metric, a risk metric, and increasingly a strategic advantage. If you're a key account manager, you're not just the customer's point of contact. You're also their translator, their advocate, and occasionally their sounding board. Here are some of the big moves to make. The first one is to know their critical loads. Ask customers, what processes cannot go down? What's the cost of 1 hour of downtime? What equipment is the most sensitive? When you know the stakes, you can tailor solutions, and customers see you as a partner, not a vendor. Next, bring options, not apologies. When reliability issues happen, customers don't want a shrug. They want power quality monitoring, backup generation options, microgrid or solar plus storage pathway, prioritize restoration agreements, maintenance coordination, and most importantly, redundancy planning. You don't need to be an engineer. You just need to bring the right experts to the table. Next, communicate like a human. During outages, customers want some clear timelines, honest updates, no jargon, and none of this we're investigating the issue often and over again. If you can explain a blown fuse to an elderly person who may have never seen one, you're already ahead of 90% of the industry. Customers have a role also, and it's bigger than call the utility when something breaks. The first thing you want to do is map your vulnerabilities. Know your single points of failure, your sensitive equipment, your backup system health, restart procedures. And if your UPS battery has been used often for a few years, it might be time for a replacement. Next, invest in resilience, not just recovery. Resilience is the difference between we barely noticed the outage and we lost $200,000. Resilience tools can include on-site generation, battery storage, power conditioning equipment, redundant feeds, microgrids, and even automated transfer switches. And finally, practice the plan. Run drills, test the generators, simulate a voltage sag. Make sure everyone knows who does what. And if your outage plan is called Bob and Bob is on vacation, don't have an outage plan. You know, reliability work can produce unneeded fame. When everything goes perfectly, nobody notices. But when something goes wrong, everybody suddenly remembers your name. It's like being a referee. If they're yelling at you, something happened. If they're not yelling, congratulations. Don't become a part of the story yourself. As for the future of reliability, the grid's changing very quickly. We're talking about more renewables, electric vehicles, automation, extreme weather, and most importantly, more customer expectations. This means reliability is no longer just about poles and wires. It's about data, predictive analytics, smart devices, and collaboration. Utilities are investing in advanced sensors, automated switching, predictive maintenance, real-time monitoring, faster restoration technologies, while customers are investing in on-site resilience, energy management systems, storage, and electrification planning. The future is shared reliability. Utilities and customers working together, not in parallel. So, here's what you can do if you're a key account manager. Schedule a 30-minute resilience review with your top 10 accounts this quarter. Bring outage cost numbers and 2 concrete mitigation options. In other words, bring data, bring options, and bring clarity. And as for customers, identify one process you can't lose for more than 30 minutes and ask your utility for a prioritized restoration agreement. We hope you found this information useful and informative. We will be back next quarter with Utility Insider bonus materials after the Q3 Powering Engagement podcast, Advanced Personalization. Questline Digital's host Rebecca Zarobsky and her guest will explore how to move beyond basic targeting and deliver truly dynamic, data-informed customer experiences. Until then, thanks for tuning in, and I'm Brian Olsen.